Hello everyone, this is Brian with Spacebound DIY. Tonight I'm going to be showing you exactly how to go through repairing or replacing your dryer heating element on, in this case, the Maytag MEDC300BW0. This was actually a request through a comment, so this is an answer to that request. We're going to go step by step through this. This isn't going to be a really quick video. I want you to see exactly what we're doing so you feel comfortable doing the same thing. If you have any questions at all, put those in the comments and I'll happily go back into it and cover anything that you need a little more detail on. Doesn't take a lot of tools. Got my drill here, two different size nut drivers. So we have a 1/4" nut driver, which is going to be most of the screws that we're going to work with. And then we've got a 5/16 nut driver, which is really just going to be for the ductwork. I have a pair of curved needle nose pliers. And then I have my multimeter to check continuity before we actually take the heating element off. If you need any of these tools, if you need the part itself, I'll have Amazon affiliate links for all those things in the description. It doesn't cost you anything extra, but it does help the channel if you go through my links to get your parts, and I obviously appreciate that very much. First thing we're going to do before we start this job, unplug it. This is a high voltage appliance, and we certainly don't want to be messing around with electricity while it's still plugged in. So make sure you get that unplugged. We'll go ahead and slide this out. The next thing we'll want to do, we want to disconnect our ductwork. So we're going to go ahead and gather up all our tools here and head down. All right, so looking at the back here, this right here is going to be the only 5/16 nut driver that we're going to need to use. So go ahead and pull this off. Now, if you take a look, you can see that you can also use a standard or a flat blade is the other name for it. I don't like using that because it slips off. I much prefer to use a nut driver. Get that good and loose. Slide that back and then slip that off. All right, once we get to this point, we're looking at 8 screws that we're going to pull out. They're actually 2 different size screws, but they all use the 1/4" nut driver to remove. So this plate here covers up your wiring. Again, high voltage appliance. Make sure that you're unplugged before you touch this. We're going to pull that off. Now this screw is actually going to be slightly larger than all these other 7 screws that we're going to pull out. So I'm going to set that one aside, just so I don't mix those up. This will pivot down and slip right off. We'll go ahead and pull off the other 7 screws. You don't have to worry about holding the back up as you pull out your screws because it pivots down as well. So it's not just going to fall off. Set these aside so I don't drop any. If you have some gloves to do this with, that's great. The metal in here tends to be kind of sharp. I've sliced myself a number of times working on this dryer. So save your hands if you can, otherwise just be really careful. All right, so that's the 7 screws. We'll pivot this down, move this wire out of the way, lift it up, and set it aside. All right, so if your dryer hasn't been heating, it's running, but it's just not heating, there's a good chance that it's your heating coil right here. Now the specific heating coil part number for this dryer is going to be 279838. And again, I'll link that down in the description if you just want to go pick that right up off of Amazon. Before we pull this heating coil out, we're going to go ahead and check it just to find out if that's what's wrong. So if you come right over here, you'll see that you've got a thermal fuse, and then you have a couple of contacts here. Your wiring, it goes on this outer contact, so we'll go ahead and pull that one off, get it out of the way. If you have to fight that at all, my recommendation is to take your needle nose pliers and just twist it underneath to pop it loose, and then pull it the rest of the way off. I'm going to go ahead and pull this one off too, being careful not to put too much pressure on that thermal fuse. Get that aside. Now to test this, I'm going to go ahead and get our multimeter out here. If you know how to do this, great, fast forward. If you don't, I just want to make sure that you're comfortable with what we're doing. So you're going to set that to your ohms, your little symbol here. That's the test resistance, or continuity, as the case may be. Your coil should be one continuous wire. It's just coiled. So you shouldn't see a high resistance. What I'm looking for is somewhere between 8 and 15 ohms. So you're going to take these two bottom contacts. You can see we're setting at 9.7. So my coil is good. If your coil is broken somewhere, then what you're going to see instead is something like that, where it just says OL, overload, is the way I see that. It's basically, it cannot get the current through. It's saying there's too much resistance. It's an overload. Now, on the other hand, let's say you see something like this, where you're at a very, very, very low value. Then in that case, what you have is a short. So basically, somewhere in here, your coil has broken loose and it's touching the actual casing somewhere. So there's no resistance at all going through that coil. All right, so once we're at this point, we're going to go ahead and take out these last two screws. Now these screws are actually a little bit smaller on the inside, even than the ones that we got off the case. So you want to set those in their own little pile as well. There's just the two of them. Now this here, you just kind of shimmy that down. And there's your coil. Now, if when we had tested it, it had shown as overload, you would look through here and you'd find a break somewhere in one of these coils or even on the back side. If you're ordering just the coil, it's going to cost you probably less than $20. It's a very cheap part. A lot of the results that you'll see on Amazon, if you go through my link, it'll have this carriage attached to it. It'll come with replacement fuses. So like this fuse here, there's another thermal fuse here, another thermal fuse down here. It'll come as a complete kit. But if you get the cheapest one, because that's all you need, just this piece right here, we're going to need to take it out of this carriage. We're going to need to disconnect this thermal fuse over here. So what I'm going to recommend for this fuse, on my needle nose pliers, save our battery, is that we take this piece off. I want to make sure you're not putting pressure places you don't mean to put pressure. And it doesn't come off easily, so you're going to have to fight with it a little bit. There we go. So once you get it slipped off that contact, this just slides right off of there. And again, if you get one of the kits, it's going to come with a new one of these thermal fuses. If not, then you'll just reuse the same thermal fuse. So we'll set that aside. Now these little contacts here, they won't just slip out. You can see that there's a bent piece of metal there and there on each side of it. You're going to need to straighten those out. So we're going to take our pliers, flatten those out. Got that side. The curved pliers make it a little easier so you can get down to it. Flatten it out on both sides. All right, so once you've gotten those all flattened out, you should be able to carefully slide these out. There's one, and there's two. All right, so to get this actual coil out of the carriage, if you look underneath, you'll see that there's a couple of little metal tabs. This is where your pliers come in handy again. Kind of bend those back out of the way. Once you do that, you should be able to slip that out fairly easily. That one's not bent out of the way yet. once those are bent out of the way, it slips right out. And there you are. So that's your heater coil. Look around the back side here. There's no brakes. And that's all there is to it. And last time I checked, this was just under $19, so a pretty cheap part to replace. All right, so we're going to go ahead and put all this back together. Now, let's assume that you bought a new one of these. This is the point where you're at. You have your new coil. It's nice and shiny. Slip that in there. Now, before you put this back down, I'm going to recommend that you straighten these tabs back out. You want it to kind of lock in. So we'll push these tabs to be straight. So what should happen now, as these are pressed in, it'll kind of lock it into place. So locked in on this side. Of course, this side over here is a little looser. All right, so now we'll take these, slip these back in. Bend these tabs over. One there, there. One there, and one there. So these are locked in now, they're not going to come out. We'll take our thermal fuse, slip that back slot there, right over the prong. That on there and press it down into place. And there we go. We have a completed carriage. Slip that back up inside. Remembering to use your 2 screws that were slightly smaller than the others. Your 1/4-inch nut driver. Reconnect our wiring. And we'll close it all back up. All right, so from here, it's really just a trivial thing to put the back plate back on and to put your ductwork back on. So I'll go ahead and end the video off here. Again, everything that you need is in the description. If this helps you out, if it helps you get the job done, I would obviously appreciate if you'd hit that like button. That really helps the algorithm to find my content. If you subscribe, that'd be a great thing to do as well. If you have other questions about things that you wanted to do with your dryer or this still hasn't fixed the problem, drop a comment for me of what you're dealing with, and I'll see if maybe we can solve the problem together. That's about it. Again, this is Brian for Spacebound DIY. Thanks a lot for watching.